Have you noticed that they never stop to refill their cars at all? I mean, how much fuel can there be in those tanks, man? Hello, my brothers and sisters. My name is Daidarius, and welcome to the review of Fast and the Furious 8: Fate of the Furious. So the movie starts with that Dom and Lady are on a honeymoon on Cuba, and for some reason they end up in a race because this is the Fast and the Furious, and they have not forgotten their roots, even though sometimes it does seem so. So Dom gets into a race where he needs to take this old piece of garbage of a car. It's rusty, it's old as shit, and I know there's someone out there who's going, but that's called a veteran car, bitch. Old doesn't mean junk. Well, in this case it does. And he needs to go up against this new big hot rod. I don't even know how many horsepower is under that hood, but it's a lot. And he needs to try and beat this guy. And because this is the Fast and Furious, and logic just go out the window, of course he ends up winning. And what does that have to do with the plot? Almost nothing. The result of this race comes into focus one time in the movie and is just glossed over, and that's it. So it's just to establish that Dom still knows how to race, but maybe he has, taken the whole action thing down a notch. Have you seen what movie you're watching, man? So on his way home, after I've done some grocery shopping, he meets with Cypher, who apparently knows him and has something on him. She wants him to do some kind of heist, and normally he don't want to do that shit. He's his own man. He wouldn't go against the law unless he has to. But she has something on him, and we don't know what it is. But it is enough for him to turn his back on family, which is a word you're gonna hear a lot in this movie. We then cut to Hobbs, who is training his little daughter for some soccer practice, and I didn't knew that they were from New Zealand, but apparently they are, because they're doing that, the dance that they have down there, where when they do it, it's to intimidate the enemy, but it's also to show respect for them, I believe. I'm not that knowledgeable for New Zealand culture, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's from. Otherwise, you could see a message right here saying nope. But anywho, he needs to take an MP from Germany. I believe it's from a military base, but it's not official military. It's some kind of criminal group. He needs an assault team. He needs Ghost Recon, a military fucking Naval SEALs kind of team. And what does he goes with? Well, these fuel heads from the former movies. And that had me wondering. And here's why. I know that they did some military operations in the 6th movie, and they did it in the 7th movie. But in the 6th movie, it made sense because Letty came back, and she had amnesia, and she was taken by the bad guys, and they just had to try and get her back. And by doing that, also stopping the bad guy, it made sense then. In the 7th movie, the last one, Deckard killed Han, so they wanted revenge. So it was, a personal agenda. And it then again makes sense. But here they gained nothing from it except that Hobbs wants their help. But it's not a life and death scenario. He can get other groups. He can get other men, like the one you saw in the 5th movie. Yes, I know that they died, but I guess he still has a team, a new team, and it wouldn't make sense because these characters are criminals, they're former criminals, and millionaires, and they don't like this kind of action, the life and death scenarios. And now he just goes, yeah, come with me, it will be fine. And then just go, sure, well, why not? It just doesn't make sense. But we gotta need to have a movie here, so They get the MP, everything looks great, and then suddenly Dom gets the notice that this is now you need to set in motion our plan. So he drives Hobbs off the road, he steals the MP, Hobbs goes to jail, and suddenly, Dom has gone rogue! But you as a viewer know he hasn't, so it's not you who questioned has he gone rogue or not, it's just the characters, which is fine. It's fine. And then we have a movie where Hobbs in the prison, so we need to break him out. Dom has gone rogue, so we need to find out why he has gone rogue. And Cypher needs to be stopped because he now has an EMP and can do a lot of damage with it. And so our movie starts here. Now, what I liked about this movie is the toned down action. Now, I like a good action flick. I even like some crazy, far out action. But in the last couple of movies, especially number 6 and number 7, it just felt too over the top. They just tried to get bigger and crazier action stunts, and it was not what I was looking for in these movies. Especially, and the reason is when you look at the catalog that these movies come from, the first 3, possibly even 4, was not that crazy action heavy, and I know that it was because in the 5th one they had acknowledged what they are and just went with it, and that's why it's so popular now. But I still would have wished that they had one foot in the past just to ground the movies, and the last 2 movies just didn't do it. This one, however, toned it down a little. There are still crazy car stunts, and there's one scene, I don't know if you've seen in the trailer, where Cypher gets hacked into, I believe, around 1,000 of cars, modern cars, and she can just control them for her room. And you just see hundreds of cars smashing into walls, dropping down from building. It's crazy, but it works. And yes, it's over the top, but in the setting, it makes sense. But there's nothing, we need to drive off a plane to parachute in cars down. You can't fucking control where you're gonna land in a freaking parachute. Yes, you can if you have, the rectangular ones when you pull in one side and you just start to turn, but it's stuff like that. There are some kind of stunts like this in the 3rd act, and it's okay because it doesn't take over the action. They're still trying to ground the action. I like the characters for the most part. Tyrese just felt like he phoned it in. I know he has probably phoned it in the last few movies, but this just was sloppy acting. Oh my. Every time he spoke, I just wanted to hit him. And I actually find him quite funny in the 7 former movies, but this is... It's just like he didn't care, and I guess it's natural that it would happen. You are 8th movie into the franchise. You're bound to get bored with your part sometime. When you take a look at the other actors, which just did a fine job, it's not Oscar-worthy by any stretch, and it will never be. It's just... It's the Fast and the Furious, for God's sake. But at least they made it look like that they had fun, and Tyrese just... No, it's like it was an annoyance for him to be there. Decker and the guys, the group, are gonna have to work together, and this bothered me most in this movie. The reason being, Hobbs and Decker constantly just trash talk each other, and it's one of the best moments in the movie. However, it slowly begins to be this brotherly bond, and by the end of the movie, he's kinda a good guy, not really, but kinda a good guy, like Hobbs was at the end of the 5th movie. Some say that it's great. Jason Statham is a great actor. He has charisma, and it's good to have in the group. But you just have to freaking remember the movie before it, for Christ's sake. He killed Han. They were so angry that they not only wanted to find Decker, they wanted to murder him in the last movie. And now he just, it's okay, man. Brother, come here. I know I shouldn't expect that much from this movie, but for fuck's sake, make sure that your characterizations and your story just, makes... Okay, so I believe you have come to the gripes now. That is one of them. The other is that I thought that the story was kind of, you had this set piece where they need to do the thing, and then you had this set piece that needed to do the thing, and it felt like it was smushed together, and you often just followed Dom, and then suddenly they just know we have to go here. You don't put a lot of explanation into how they come, find out that we need to go here because this is where Dom is. They do kind of with the God's Eye, but that's another gripe. Kurt Russell's character, Mr. Nobody, is just kind of there. There's no reason except that he's the head of this agency and he's the one who has all this magical software and computers. But he's just passive, and he just, then Ludacris and the girl from the former movie, The Hacker, just walks up to God's Eye, do some hacker stuff, and he just goes, "I told you they were good, man." And that's it. He just lolly all the time. You just go. You have an cyber terrorist on the loose who has got an EMP, and later on gets something much worse, and you're just gonna be that lolly. What? They just know where Dom is gonna be. Fine, that's fine. But they only sent 5-6 people after him. You have an entire agency with trained agents. Get them in there, man. Just send them. It's okay. Just make it like the former movies where the agent doesn't do that well, and it's Dom's old crews end up gonna, pull the hard weight to get him because they know how he drives, how he thinks, and all that. But at least show that you want to send agent in there instead of just 6 fucking racers. It makes me mad. And the funny thing is, when I saw the movie, it didn't bother me that much. But now when I'm explaining it, the movie just slowly tears itself apart, and there are a lot of stuff like this. For example, and this is where the crazy action where you just take physics and all that thing and just throw it out the window. In the third act, they're gonna fire this EMP. Dom is in a car, he has the EMP, he needs to fire it to knock out some security and to knock out a submarine, and then Cypher can apparently just take over the submarine via hacking. So this EMP just knocks down helicopters from the sky and all the power in this space, except his car. I don't know how. He then knocks out the power in the submarine, but they can hack it and start it back up. Dude, that's not how an EMP works. When you hit an electronic with an EMP, you fry the system. You can't turn it back on. That's the whole... And today I would like to present to you Salty Daidarius. Okay. So that's generally my gripes. To sum it up, you have Decker and his gang, who suddenly becomes part of the group, slowly in a good way. Then you have the fact that the agency doesn't use their resources efficiently at all. They just throw race drivers at Dom, and that's it. And that's probably gonna be fine. You have the EMP thing, which is a smaller thing. It's not that big a deal, actually. And the fight scenes. Listen, the Fast and the Furious has shown us that they can deliver awesome fight scenes in general. But here you had a lot of shaky cams, you had a lot of fast edits. For some reason, they just take Hobbs and make him into a Hulk, a tank. He wasn't that in the first movie at all. Yes, he was big, he was, intimidating, but it wasn't like he just picked guys up and threw them across the room. That wasn't what he was about. He was aggressive. He hit you like a train and you just went down. He didn't pick you up and threw you 30 meters or so. At some point he breaks handcuffs. I know some people can do that because they are that strong, but he breaks his handcuff, takes a guy up, so the guy is horizontally, and just hold him against a wall. And the guy is, 85 kilograms, and you're just gonna hold him up like it's nothing? He even headsbutts a man with a helmet on, and the man with the helmet goes down. Yes, that is funny, but if you look at the fifth movie, which, in case you didn't know, is my favorite in the franchise, he wasn't like that. Yes, he had huge cojones when he just walked into this, gang territory, Brazilian gang, and all of them had just had assault rifles ready to shoot him, and he just pulls out his freaking Desert Eagle and they just walk away because that's intimidating. Again, that is fun, but you don't prey on his hulking physique. And when he fought Dom, it was a good choreographed fight with two hulking dudes punching and throwing each other, but not across the room. Just what that person would be able to throw the other guy. That made it good, because then it wasn't, some kind of cartoony movie. What I guess is that they took a lot of the cartoony stunts, car stunts and explosion and all that from the two former movies, and, exchanged that with a hulking Hobbs. No, it's not a good trade, man. It's not a good trade. So yeah, there are a lot of gripes to this movie. There is. But again, it is one of those movies you just have to switch your brain off. What do I like about this movie? Well, for starters, as I said before, the action is toned down. It's more like the fifth movie, even though that the fifth had this crazy freaking action scene with the vault. And we all know that scene just couldn't have happened at all if you put it in the real world. That vault weighed too much. If that wall got flung around, those cars would just flew off the roads. Anywho, the action is toned down. It's still fun, it's still exciting, but it's not, we have a car, we jump from one building to the next building and somehow gets a lot of grips. How? Or when Dom just smashes his car into the side of the highway and get flung off and catches Lady in midair and still have momentum enough to continue over to the other road and land on the hood of a car and survive. It's not that kind of crazy, except for that where the cars start flying all around. That's a bit crazy. It doesn't go on for that long. It is used for purpose, but that is crazy. So they just took all the crazy action scenes and put them into one, and then there's the one where they get chased by a submarine, but it's not that over the top, actually. I did like where they took the story. It was kind of refreshing to see that it wasn't just, we need to get to this bad guy for some fucked up reason now. Because, again, they have done the personal thing. They have found Lady and get her back, memory back. They have kind of avenged Hans' murder. And now it's, well, this would have made much more sense if they took out the part where they got the MP, the whole gang, which didn't make sense. And then just cut to the fact that Dom had went rogue. Then there was something personal where they could invest these characters in, and it would make sense for them to get involved. That could be a good fix. But I love the fact that they changed the story up that much, with Dom becoming kind of a bad guy, and they don't know why he went rogue. But the sad thing is that they just know pretty quickly that he has a reason. He hasn't turned that back on him. Again, they have been together for 15 years now, so should know him that much that he wouldn't go rogue, except if there was a good reason. But I just find it kind of a missed opportunity, especially between him and Hobbs. They haven't known each other for that long, but it's fine to see it taken that direction. And the kind of twist there is for why he went rogue is, I believe, a good twist. It's twist, but it is a good plot point. The humor in it is okay. it's fine. I'm using that word a lot lately. It's fine. But it's fine. It is not that much present. Usually it's Tyrese who is the comic relief, but now he's just, annoying piece of shit. There are some funny cameos. If you are a fan of the series and have watched the former movies, you will get them instantly. Otherwise, there won't be that much fun. The only thing that bugs me is that they're gonna be a 9th and a 10th movie. And just as the movie before, it doesn't seem there is much more else to tell about these characters. The good thing about the 5th, and the sixth movie was that it ended up with setting up the next one. The fifth ended with that we found out that Letty was still alive. So that's what the plots in the sixth movie was. And then at the end of the sixth movie, we found out that Han got killed by Decker. That sets up the seventh movie. And this movie just ended on a happy note. That's about it. I don't know why they keep trying to hold this franchise alive, but it's some good entertainment. But all in all, it's, you know, a good time and you are enjoying yourself. All you have to do is, you know, is just switch your brain off and enjoy the action. And I actually enjoy my mindless action movie. You could just put it on a Blu-ray, or if you have Netflix, and it is on Netflix, you can watch it there and just, you know, make some popcorns, sit down and just watch it at a weekend afternoon or something like that. I like those moments. I think that this is one of those movies. But here's the funny thing. I was planning on, when I started recording this video, that I was giving it, you know, watching it in cinema, it's entertainment guaranteed. But then I started to, you know, talk about the movie, and all these gripes just really started to pop out. It didn't do while I was watching the movie. I was just, you know, having fun. But then again, is it a movie I would like to watch again? And I don't really know. It just begins to feel repetitive. So I think I will change my my planned rating for this movie. It happens sometimes. So yeah. So the Fast and Furious 8 Fate of the Furious, you should just catch it on Netflix. Meh experience. What's else on there? Ooh, is that it, man? So yeah, I actually think it's kind of funny that when you watch the movie, you think it's actually quite entertaining, and these things doesn't bug you while you're watching it, because I had switched off my brain and knew what I was getting into. But when you didn't start talking about it, then the movie just slowly falls apart. And it wasn't that experience I had when I watched it, but now looking back at it, then I just have to be true to myself and acknowledge that the movie isn't that good as I first thought it was. But it's okay. It's still a fine movie, and if you want to watch it in cinema, then go ahead, buy some popcorn, buy some soda, and have a blast. But I would actually urge you to wait until it gets on Netflix. And just make it a cozy afternoon, you know. The kids are off playing in the garden or with a friend. If you have kids, made some popcorn or some snacks, and just get with a friend or your spouse, sit back and just enjoy a good action flick. So, Fast and Furious 8, Fate of the Furious. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Comment below, let me read your thoughts. And as always, until I see you in the next video, remember to stay awesome. Bye! I'm Hoss. I'm just a big huggy little booty booty boo.